Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another Supercoach Insider podcast. My name is Swizz, here with another Booms and Bust episode featuring Jeppa from the Plus Six podcast. How are you, mate?
Yeah, Swizz, sorry, wrong podcast, getting confused here.
No, that's fine, mate. We were just actually talking about Pete and your podcast off air. It's probably a good segue, mate. It's how did the guys find you out there?
Yeah, it's on X at Jeppa DT, and then Plus Six podcast with Phil Ratings at Pete. So having a lot of fun this year. This is a great time of year to be talking role changes and players that are pretty popular and others that are flying under the radar.
No, I like that. And always for us, check us out on all our social media platforms, in particular the YouTube, Spotify. Get in contact with us via X, Supercoach Insider 100 or Swizz 26 for the fans out there. We have been uploading the stuff on Spotify. We're sorry for the delay with that, but it is all going on our platforms. All right, we are here for Booms and Bust, mate. Who is a player that maybe somebody's not talking about, or a player that you just like that is going to get the job done and have an absolute boom of a season?
For me, it's Matthew Kennedy from the Dogs. So obviously comes from Carlton. We have a history of Supercoach and or players in general doing really well when they move clubs and get a better role, a better opportunity. And with the Treloar injury now, it looks like it's going to be Matthew Kennedy's year at least, or to start the year. So, yeah, more CBAs, more points. He had a really good points return when he got 30% or more CBAs last year. So really looking forward to him dominating this year. I know there's still Liver and Bont obviously and Sanders around him, but Ed Richards is now the talk of the town as well. So there's still a good mix there, and he might get chopped out a little bit, but I'm going to back him in. And I think Bevo likes the physical protection for his Rolls Royce in Marcus Bontempelli.
Yeah, and also I think with Richards too, that slightly slender frame, get Kennedy in there. Liver, he's aging, his body's beaten up. Like, he's been an absolute warrior for the Dogs, but they need someone to come in there and replace that. And I think, especially if they were to cop another injury in there too, that's probably the big thing. He's one more injury away from being just locked and loaded in that midfield. And the fact is, in Supercoach and other formats, DT and AF, we get him as a forward. So he's a forward mid for us this season.
Yeah, that's the perk, right? So comes in at a cheaper price, undervalued, forward status with a fantastic role. And that's what we're looking for in all of our forward and defence, I suppose, as well, and keeping an eye on these positional changes. So greater role for Matthew Kennedy, and yeah, that's what I'm all about.
I love it. And on the flip side, mate, who's a player who's just not going to get the job done, who's going to be a bit of a bust this season?
Well, he's a pretty popular player, and this might be a surprise to many, but it's Jaden Short. One of your boys, mate. Yes, there's no Rioli, and yes, he's probably the quarterback for Richmond, no doubting that. But, don't underestimate Nick Vlosten and what his role is in that team and the way he can spot up a target. And you've got Sam Banks coming through. We don't know where Tom Brown's going to play, and young Caleb Smith as well. So it's not just all going to be positive for Jaden Short. There's definitely going to be a little bit of an upside, but Jaden Short in the past hasn't been that hungry, like real tenacious, give me the footy type, like your Nick Dacos is, where he just commands the footy and yells at his teammates when he doesn't get it. So, yeah, I can see an even spread with one of the younger blokes, probably Sam Banks, by the sound of it. So where's the value in Jaden Short? And is he going to be a top six defender? Probably not. So that's my bust. I could be wrong. But yeah, I'm just wary of starting him. It just doesn't feel right.
Mate, I got burnt by him last year thinking this was the year that he was going to go crazy. So maybe that's sort of in the back of my mind, but I agree with you. I actually threw him in my side this morning just because that was how much money I had left in the defense, but I actually hate it. I really don't like the pick. I know my co-host Chris is huge on him, but I'm just can't warm to it. I don't see, yes, he's going to get a lot of the ball and take the kick outs. There'll be a spread, but you'll get opportunities to kick out. You'll get the chance to distribute off half back. but we don't have an obvious target leading for him. Yes, Lynch is back, but I feel like they're going to be a bit more protective of Lynch up in that, probably keep him in closer to the square. And so the half forwards are more sort of your younger types like Fawcett, and then the three guys that we recruited off the preseason. So I don't think they're the target. So unless he's kind of more short kicking, that does have me worried. So yeah, we'll see a lot more ball at Richmond in the back line, but that doesn't necessarily bode well for Supercoach. Probably more maybe for your AF and DT because the efficiencies maybe not as much. Him and Voston could potentially wax down there a little. And also in Supercoach, Short's never had a better year of 98. So that's these days is not good enough for a top six. You look at some of the halfbacks that we do have, and not even just halfbacks, but even intercepting defenders that he's competing against in that spot. So yes, you could potentially make 100K on Short, but still, I think you're going to be 10 to 10, well, probably 10 points at least short of being one of the top six defenders.
Yeah, look, and that's what I look for. So when you're spending up at that price point on Short, you want it, in a perfect world, you want him for the rest of the year, right? You want him to play 23 games and have a set and forget type play, knowing he's going to be a top six. So I suppose last year we were blessed in the forward line with the Flanders types and, even Zorko in the end when those jumped on early and et cetera, because we knew that they were going to be top six forwards for the season and we could focus on other lines. So I think there's a bit of wishful thinking with Short being that type of player. Just put him in now and he's good for the year. I think there's potentially better picks around him, that's for sure.
Yeah, and like his games record not terrible, but yeah, did miss played the 22 last year, which he didn't miss one, 16 the year before, and that's why he came at that discount price. And I think back like 2019, he only played half the season, only got the 12 games. So it's not like some of these players in the comp where he banks out the 22, 23 games every year. You might get them 1 or 2 games missing. So a little bit of a worry there. And I think his body will probably get beaten up a little bit more just because the amount of time the ball is going to spend in that Richmond defence.
Yeah, for sure. And if I'm Uze, like I don't want to rely on just Jaden. I want my young kids coming through to take ownership of their roles and take their opportunity, and do their bit for the team. And whether that's, Jaden Short may stay back as a bit of a safety, and then the others line break a bit more. But Vlaston is more tentative to stay back because he can intercept mark, and he can take a play on a tall or on a short. So I just. Maybe I'm overthinking it, Swizz. I have a history of doing that. But yeah, he's my bust, mate.
No, I love it, mate. I love it. Even if it is one of my guys that you've thrown in there, which should be a dagger to the heart, but I'm actually on board with you. So no, I appreciate that. That's another Booms and Bust. Tell us what you think. Matty Kennedy, Jaden Short, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, Jeppa.
Thank you.